Hello, I hope you're having a wonderful day. In this video, I am doing kind of like a few days worth of daily journaling, and you can see from the title as well as from the brief flip through that I am currently trying to work my way through this fountain pens emoji washi tape. I don't really have a deep underlying reason behind it. I just kind of want the satisfaction of finishing a washi roll. And because like every day so far has been using this tape and also like a tan-ish color scheme to match the washi tape, I just find it really satisfying to flip through all of these like cohesive spreads. So yeah, that's basically the context behind this video. I think I filmed myself journaling for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, so 4 days. If you've watched my channel for a while, you probably are pretty familiar with how I do my daily spreads. So this is the Hobonichi cousin planner, and on the left side, I typically write down my to-do list, and sometimes I separate it by the time of day. So I might have a section for morning, afternoon, and evening, and then sometimes I will separate it out by the category. So here I'm doing my work to-dos as well as my other to-dos. And then for the right side, which is like the bigger section, this is where I do my journal entries throughout the day, as well as any doodles or notes and stuff like that. Anyways, let's talk about Monday. These were actually quite eventful few days, quote unquote. I'm not too sure what counts as eventful, but anything out of the ordinary. So on Monday, I had this idea to bake some black bean brownies, and I found it really satisfying that baking black bean brownies is an alliteration. Anyways, I put down this chef's hat emoji and lettered in what I was doing, and I did not write down a recipe because they turned out good, but I do have a much better no sugar added brownie recipe. So yeah, by the way, I made these black bean brownies also low sugar, so I think all of those things combined just made it not the best brownies I've ever baked. So I will be sticking to my other recipe. Anyways, I just wrote down my entry, and then I only did one other entry on this day, which was in the evening. Basically, my brother-in-law's mom, she is not using her car for the next month, so they are lending me their car, and that way I can drive down to my sister's house and see her, my brother-in-law, and my nephew. And then the second exciting thing about Tuesday was that I signed up for a French course at UBC, and I am so excited about it. A lot of you know that I love learning languages, and I have been learning Spanish and French for quite a while now. And I will say I do prefer learning Spanish, but for some reason I find learning Spanish by myself a lot easier, but very difficult when I take courses in Spanish. However, it's like the other way around for French. I find learning French myself very difficult, but taking courses with an instructor is a lot easier. So I'm still learning both, but just like different methods, because I realized that I learn differently. So I start that course mid-September, which is coming up very quickly, and again, I'm super excited. Moving on to Wednesday, I doodled this like dead on the floor low energy emoji with a battery pack because, as indicated, I was having just a really off morning. I've been having more frequent episodes of just like having off days these days, which is also why on in the Facebook group and also on Instagram I mentioned that my mom has been rallying for me to take just like a full few weeks off, like no half-assing a break. And I'm still very hesitant about it, but I'm heavily considering it. So it's really not that deep, but I do want to explain like my thought process behind why, for example, I chose to extend my doodle and journal entry into the left column, which is where I typically do my to-do list. And again, it's really not that deep and I don't want to make it super serious, but basically in the morning, I just did not get very many things done. I can't really remember, but I think I also slept in or something. So yeah, just overall, my entire morning was kind of consumed by the fact that I had very low energy. And so it just made more sense in my brain for the top part of this spread to just be completely about this fact. So on this day, I didn't make an entry in the afternoon, but I happened to make 2 entries in the evening. The first one is just this current one where I'm just randomly writing. And then the second entry is going to be about veggie chili. Now, if you have been watching my channel for a while, especially when I was in Toronto, you would probably know that for a solid few years, like at least 2 to 3 years, I had veggie chili every single evening. Obviously, barring exceptions like the holidays or the off occasion I went out with friends, but I had this entire mechanical routine of meal prepping veggie chili in my gigantic crock pot on Sundays and then having it for 7 days of the week. And when you do something for that many years, and I genuinely think I make really good veggie chili, I was just bound to miss it. So yeah, on Wednesday I made a meal prep batch of veggie chili and I was very, very excited. So I wrote on a sticky note, veggie chili is back. And I also wrote down all of the ingredients that I used. And I don't think I mentioned this elsewhere, but since moving back to Vancouver, I've just been living with my parents and it's been great. But our old apartment is no longer being rented, and so I think there's going to be some moves. Either I'm moving to the apartment or my parents are moving to the apartment. And so this means I think I will be back on my veggie chili grind because, like, obviously if I'm having dinner with my family, I'm not going to subject them to having the same thing every single day. But when I'm by myself, I love it so much. Okay, I've been talking about veggie chili for way too long. Moving on to Thursday, I first put down the washi tape because, again, the context of this is I'm trying to use up this washi tape. So I'm literally just using the same design every single day, which is honestly nothing to complain about because I think this is one of the cutest designs that I have released in the shop. And it's ultra special because it was a collaboration with Wonder Pens, which I very much look up to. So yeah. Also, I just wanted to mention that you will notice my lighting change throughout the video. And that's just because, like, across the days, the weather has been super volatile. Some days are super gloomy, some days are super hot. And also within the day, obviously the morning / afternoon is very bright. And when I do my evening entries, it's very dark. So yeah, that's why it's kind of all over the place. But on Thursday, this was another exciting day because I drove for the first time to my sister and my brother-in-law's house, and I was so nervous. Many of you know that I got my driver's license last summer, and I did pass on the first try, which I was very proud of. And you might think, wow, like she must be a good driver. But no, I am a very anxious person, and that kind of translates into my driving as well. So honestly, I've probably driven like less than 10 times within the past year, like maybe 5 or 6 times. And part of it is I genuinely just love walking as a form of exercise and kind of clearing my head. But also, again, like I just get very anxious about driving, especially if it's unnecessary. So yeah, I was very proud of myself because this drive was actually kind of a difficult one. We have to go over this bridge that is quite narrow, and I don't know, I think it was the motivation of wanting to see my nephew that kind of pushed me to embark on this journey. And I got stuck in traffic for the first time, which is a great milestone. Because I was visiting my sister, her favorite, okay, maybe not favorite, but one of her favorite little cakes is Madeline's from France. And so I bought a legitimate Madeleine tin and I made it for the first time on this day, and it was actually really, really good and she loved it. So I brought it over and it was a great day. And then on the evening, while I was doing some design work, I watched Breaking Bad. I have watched Breaking Bad, the entire series, maybe like 3 or 4 times. It is just one of my favorite shows, and I'm currently on another rewatch. So yeah, I put down this like currently watching sticker for my shop. And then this clip is still Thursday evening, but I was planning a little bit of Friday, which I do sometimes. Like I will start planning for the next day in advance. And basically, I got myself like a walking pad slash treadmill, just because we have really bad icy winters here, and I figured that like I can't really walk when it starts icing and snowing and all of that. And so it was supposed to be delivered on Friday, and that is why I decided to go to my sister's place on Thursday. But for some reason, they delivered it early on Thursday, and unfortunately, for some reason, like typically they'll just leave packages on the porch, but I guess they didn't want to do that, so they dropped it off at the post office since I wasn't home. And this was like a 30-kilogram box, which I don't know how much that is in pounds. Let me see. Kilograms to pounds. So that is around 66 pounds. And you can probably see from my videos that I have basically noodle arms, and even though I'm trying my hardest and going to the gym and doing upper body workouts, it was a struggle getting a 66-pound slash 30-kilogram giant treadmill from the post office to the trunk of my car and then driving it back. But thankfully, there was this man who saw me struggling, and thank goodness he offered to help, and all was well. He looked super cool. Like he was carrying like 3 jugs of water, and he had like shades on. And I did offer him Starbucks because it was nearby, but he said no, thank you. So yeah, that was basically my Friday. I also tried a new coffee spot called Finest Cup. And this place is run by the sweetest couple. They serve amazing Ethiopian coffee. And it was like a 40-minute walk just to try this place. But honestly, like I will go back again multiple times because it was so good. And the couple was so sweet. So yeah, anyways, that is basically this video. Honestly, like my days typically aren't packed with so many stories, but I'm really glad I decided to film this week. So yeah, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Bye.